All right. Good evening and welcome to another edition of Import Export Platform Facebook Live from 3T Impes Trade Academy. We'll continue our discussion on open account trading. Open account trading has been deemed to be a very risky option for anybody going into export business. If you are new into export business, sometimes it's written as cash against document on your contract. Whenever you have a contract that says cash against document without any instruction to send document to the bank, is an indication that that is an open account transaction. Open account are trade finance solutions that are very common in cross-border trade transaction. With open account, goods are shipped by exporter and received by importer before payment for goods are made or before payment become due. Payment by importer for the transaction is then typically due in sometimes 90 days, while certainly not longer than that time. Import financing 90 days may well be enough time for importer to receive and resell. So the explanation of the 90 days is to receive the goods and resell the goods. To receive the goods and resell the goods. An open account transaction in cross-border trade is the simplest form of trade finance, because you are really financing, as an exporter, you are financing the importer and giving him a credit term for him to pay afterwards. An open account transaction generally favors importer over exporter in terms of cash flow and risk mitigation, and this is one of the safest import financing methods for importers who face very little transaction risk because they receive the goods they are purchasing before they pay for them. So you are basically financing an importer when you do an open account transaction. It's a form of financing, only that it leaves the exporter at risk and leave the importer at little or no risk. Because the importer will have to sell and pay afterwards. Typically within 90 days, that's expected to have happened. Why that is ordinarily the case, at present there are market factors at work which are altering the paradigm. The global shortage of trade finance is contributing to the intense competition in export market. This is essentially the case, especially in less developed market, because many importers cannot arrange import financing sufficient to book purchases. Exporters are unable to find enough importers to purchase their goods. Can you see the reason why open account transaction is becoming very rampant? Importers need funding, but they're not getting enough funding. Exporters need buyers, and they don't want to keep the inventory in the warehouse. So exporters are compelled to offer open account terms to importers in order to be able to safeguard themselves against the pressure from the competitors. So one of the drivers of open account trade in the world is competition. Because if you choose not to do it, don't worry. Someone else is standing by the door to do it. So if you are going to be in that business, if you are going to be able to do that business, you had better consider open account. You had better consider open account. You had better consider open account. If you do not consider open account, sorry. Nobody will show interest. So considering open account become extremely important. Consider open account become extremely important for you to be able to do a trade transaction. If you do not consider open account, you might not be able to get a buyer. And that's the challenge in number. That's why people are always looking for buyer. In fact, the desperation with which a typical exporter looks for buyer in Nigeria, believing that their major challenge is getting buyer when the product is not even good enough for export, is a major reason why people even find themselves going to open account. Because there's desperation to get buyer, because there's a mindset that says getting buyer is the most important. But I've often said, when the product is good and the buyer is also patient, the seller is patient, the buyer will appear. When the product is good, the buyer will appear. Even though the exporter needs to be patient. And when the buyer begins to appear, the buyer now keep appearing. because the product is now in the market, other competitors are seeing it, and then they want to do business with you. Why? They can see it in their country. Just take one person to be able to get into those countries, put it on the right shelf, then the demand comes. When the product is good, and the buyer is ready to wait and patiently wait, looking for buyers, the buyer will appear, and you will not have to look for buyer again. This is the reason why many people are faced with the pressure of open account. But then that's not a problem. What we have decided to do is to begin to look for solutions. I've mentioned one solution in the morning, and that was bank payment obligation. And I said, bank payment obligation enable you to trade in open account terms and still enjoy the security of a letter of credit. A bank actually gives a guarantee for payment in a process driven by technology, in a process devoid of document examination, in a process that only allowed data matching through an application called a transaction matching application. A new payment method at that, but the world have not fully embraced. A new payment method of that, but the world have not fully embraced. Basically because of the risk. You are not even going to have to deal with documents, you are going to have to deal with data. You are not going to have to deal with documents, you will have to deal with data. And that's a challenge, a big challenge. Very, very big challenge for anyone trying to show interest in that transaction. So that's a challenge in our world. That's a challenge in our world. That's a challenge in our world. If many of the people that want to buy from you say this is what they want to do, I guess you have no other choice but to accept it. If many of the people interested say this is what they want to do, I guess you have no other choice than to accept it. Because you know what? It is buyer's market. It is buyer's market. It is buyer's market. It is a buyer's market. It is a buyer's market. Many people want to sell. People that want to buy don't have money to pay immediately. They would rather buy from you and pay later. So, bank payment obligation have been able to help us. But I'll be talking about the second payment option today. And the second payment option I will be looking at is called the export credit insurance. It's called the export credit insurance. Export credit insurance. Now, this is a very interesting risk mitigation option for you in international trade. In fact, it is actually designed to enable you trade on open account terms. It is often issued by export credit agencies to be able to ensure that if, every serious-minded nation that understand how vital it is to trade to grow economy and create jobs, also recognizing some of the challenges that hinder people from trading, make provision for a form of insurance to enable their citizens still go ahead and do trading, even though it might appear risky. But they are still willing to do that trading because their government have been able to put in place export credit agency to be able to give export credit insurance. They've been able to put in place export credit agency to be able to give export credit insurance. Remember, the first option available for you to mitigate open account risk is bank payment obligation. Bank payment obligation. The second option available for you to be able to mitigate open account risk is called export credit insurance. What exactly is export credit insurance? As the name implies, it's an insurance given to protect the proceeds of an exporter. It's an insurance given to protect the proceeds of an exporter, such that if there is a risk that ensues preventing payment from coming as at when due, the exporter will be able to still get paid. The exporter will be able to still get paid. Why? Because of export credit insurance. The credit I said is an instrument from export credit agencies. In Nigeria, we have an example of that, and it's called the Nexim Bank. Nigeria Export-Import Bank. We have in China, China Exim Bank. We have in US Exim Bank. In UK, they call them UKEF. UKEF. And there are different of such. In Australia, it's called Austrade. Any serious-minded country who take export seriously have a very functional export credit insurance. I use the word functional because Nexim Bank in Nigeria has not been able to do this well. I understand they are trying to do something in that regard now, but as it is today, I'm not sure if that's obtainable from Nexim Bank, even though it's one of their products. You see it on their website. Export credit insurance protects an exporter of products and services against risk of non-payment by foreign buyers. In other words, ECI significantly reduces the risk of not getting paid, which is associated with doing international business, by giving the exporter conditional assurance that payment will be made if the foreign buyer is unable to pay. So it's an assurance, a conditional assurance, that payment will be made if the buyer is unable to pay. Simply put, exporter can protect their foreign receivables against a variety of risks. An exporter is able to protect his foreign receivables against a variety of risks that could result in non-payment from the foreign buyers. Generally, ECI covers commercial risks such as insolvency of buyers, bankruptcy of buyers, protracted default by buyers, slow payment by buyers, and certain political risks. Such as war, terrorism, riot, and revolution. And certain political risks such as war, terrorism, riot, and revolution that could result in non-payment. ECI covers currency inconvertibility, expropriation when government take over another a foreign business, and changes in import or export regulation. ECI is offered either as a single buyer basis or in portfolio multi-buyer basis. ECI covers both commercial risk and political risk. Commercial risk, even economic risk of the country. Commercial risk, political risk, economic risk are all risks covered by an exporter. By an export credit insurance. Like I said, it is designed basically to ensure that, and this is how government even encourage their exporter to export to zones that have demand for their product, but it's a high-risk country. Remember what the government is trying to achieve. Government objective is to create jobs, to grow the economy. That's a cardinal objective of any government in the world. Now, government might not be able to create the job directly, but government can create a job indirectly by creating an enabling environment to support exporters. Creating an enabling environment to support exporters. That's one of the major things government can do to grow the economy. So when you see a nation that is set to be developed, they are basically nations that are heavily dependent on export. Heavily. heavily. When you see a nation, and this nation is called export nation, sorry, developed nation rather, that nation, be rest assured, is an exporting nation. A developed nation 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 is an exporting nation. Why? Because for them to develop, they have enough money to grow their economy. For them to develop, they have enough money to grow their economy. For them to develop, they have enough money to grow. For them to get that money, they must be doing something. Mainly selling goods. There is a limit to how much you can earn from local taxes. It's when the people make money, they are able to pay tax. It's when people make money, they are able to pay tax. So, if they are unable to pay tax, a government cannot rely on taxes. Because the people are not even making money enough to pay tax. The economy is not growing enough to pay tax. So there's a limit to reliance on taxes. That's what I'm emphasizing. Because when we think, or when we say something like this, or we do something like this in Nigeria, and government want to grow income, the first thing they think of is tax. The first thing they think of in tax. Developed world can do that because they are already developed. The people are already doing business and growing economy and making money. A depressed economy depending on tax is just overburdening the people, which is why a lot of people kick against the idea of increasing VAT in Nigeria. In fact, in the case of Nigeria, it's even peculiar. It's peculiar in the sense that there are so many people that are not even paying VAT. I remember the first time we visited a Lagos Internal Generated Revenue, LIRS, and they were shocked that we are coming, that we want to pay tax. They were shocked because it's unusual for individuals to say they want to go and pay tax. It's very unusual. How can someone say you want to go and be paying tax? It's very unfortunate, very, very funny. How can you go to tax office that you want to start paying tax? So they were suspicious. Why? It's very uncommon, very unusual, because of the kind of environment where we operate. But eventually, we had to. We did everything they want us to do, and we started paying the tax. But that's not common in our environment. Many people are doing businesses. Some are even using their personal name. A lot of people are not paying tax. Why? They don't see any reason to pay tax. Understandably so, because they have issue with the government. But the fact is that if this is prevalent in our society, any government in a developing environment or underdeveloped environment, depending on tax, is wasting its time. I'm saying all that to say that one of the major ways that government generates revenue is to be actively involved in exportation. Any serious-minded government to generate revenue must be actively involved in exportation. Value-added exportation, commodity export, they must be very much involved. If they choose not to be involved in it, what will basically happen is that at the end of the day, they will find it difficult to pay salaries. And that's the situation in Nigeria. Back to export credit insurance. So when serious countries want to grow export, they encourage their exporter to export to nations, countries that are troubled, that are dangerous, that have political and economic risk, that they might not be able to get paid on time. Because as long as the goods are being shipped out, jobs are created back at home. As long as the goods are being shipped out, jobs are created back at home. But when we fail to ship the goods out, jobs will not be created back at home. When we fail to ship the goods out, jobs will not be created back at home. And that's a big, big, big challenge in our society today. Very big challenge. Very big challenge. Very big challenge. which is why I will implore that Nexim wake up to their responsibility and please help Nigerians with export credit insurance service to increase export. And even local insurance can take on this. Now I use this illustration. Some will say, local insurance will say the risk inside, they might charge 5%. If they charge 5% and cover 90% of your proceed, and you are going to make 30%, you will have given them 5%, but you still have some things left. Because you are going to make 30%, and they are covering 90%, and they will take 5% already, you still have 15% with your capital. So anyhow, you are okay, even though you pay a very high premium on the insurance. But I tell you, it's still a lot better for you. Why? It protects your capital. So, export credit insurance enhance movement into new market. Expansion into new market is one of the major benefits of export credit insurance. Because you are not so afraid of default again, you are able to go into different markets around the world. And you can be sure not everybody will default. So if you ship to 100 people, 100 customers ship to 100 people, maybe they have about 10, 15 that defaulted. But not everybody will default. People will pay. People will pay. Because everybody in the country are not bad. Number 2, boosting of sales with existing customers. Because you can now give them more credit. You can extend more credit to them, so you increase your sale to them. Because there's a safety net for your business now to protect your foreign receivables, then you increase your sale, you increase your credit term, and they can buy more from you. You're also able to unlock more attractive financing. Banks that are hesitating before to give you loan are now willing to give you loan. Why? Because of insurance. Because you are doing a lot of insurance. Because the fund is insured, the proceeds is insured, bank will give you loan. So it unlocks opportunity to get more financing. It unlocks opportunity to get more financing. You know what? You are also able to transfer your burden of credit to someone else. Export credit insurance can help you by easing the burden of credit risk management. Because now they handle all that for you. They will have even assessed the market, check out everything to be sure it's in order, and even advise if they have concerns. So they carry on the job of credit risk management. And they have enough experts than you. They can improve your receivable management by advising you and also protecting your receivables. And in some countries, there is tax relief, tax benefit, because you are doing insurance. Purchasing export credit insurance, your business can reduce its loss reserve knowing it will be compensated for foreign customer non-payment and in turn lower your business overall tax burden since the premium paid for your export credit are not taxable. The premium you are paying is not taxed. The idea here is this. It's extremely important, very important, for us to understand one of the major challenges that confront exporters, which a number of developed nations have been able to do. A number of nations have been able to cover these challenges by export credit insurance. So, for open account transaction, one of the ways to look for export credit insurance. So look for commercial insurance who might charge you more than the export credit export credit agency, but at the end of the day, you are better off. You are protected, your interest is protected, your profit protected, and the business have tendency to be able to grow. And the business has tendency to be able to grow. I'll be rounding off now. Remember I said I have 7 options to be able to mitigate export credit insurance. I've done the second one today. Tomorrow, I'll be doing the third one and the 4th one in the evening of tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening. This Import Export Platform, Facebook Live from Treatment Academy. My name remains Dela Yemibo. See you tomorrow morning and bye for now.